have Richie running for county council. Earlier tonight, he had to step out, but he's coming back. Is Mark Shane. He's also running for delegate in District 32. And let's see, do we have anybody? Oh, we also have our current county councilman. Our councilman, Pete Smith, is here from this district. Let's see. I guess that covers. Yeah, I got you. Yep. All right, so people are going to continue. Oh, and Daryl Jones. Councilman Daryl Jones has just walked in the room. And Lisa Washington is okay, Carl Stokes. Oh, and Carl Stokes. All right, so again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. As you know, this election is hugely important for all of us. I don't know if this microphone is helping, but we'll hear me. This movement of this blue wave that's building across the nation is tremendous, and it's going to bring back a sense of normalcy to our country. It's going to give us a foothold where in this world of chaos that we find ourselves in today, and it's going to stretch up and down the ballot. And in Maryland in particular, it's really important that we all work together and unite behind all of our candidates all up and down the ballot, because we've got to make some real inroads in Maryland. We have got to win the governor's race because there are so many important issues that we've got to take action on. In Maryland, we hear time and time again from folks, they say, well, Larry Hogan's okay, or Larry Hogan's not that bad. But we have to ask ourselves, why would we settle for okay? Or why would we settle for not that bad? When we have someone who is a rock star, and if you've never heard him speak, he's going to speak tonight. Ben Jealous is very inspirational, and he has tremendous ideas. He's got full of energy. He came through the primary process, as many of you know, did very well in the primaries because people liked his ideas, they liked his vision, they liked what he had to say. And so he's bringing that to the campaign trail. So when you're out there in the community, you talk to folks, anytime you encourage someone to vote, anytime that you have a conversation about voting, make sure you talk about Ben and the importance of us electing Ben, because this isn't about Larry Hogan, it's about the ideas and the enthusiasm and what we can do with Ben Jealous. So he's the guy with the vision, he's the guy with the oh, and Tracy Habermill is somewhere back here. So I also just wanted to say, so I don't know if you all saw the news, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, there was an article in the Sun, there was an article in the Sun about absentee ballots. The number of people in Maryland that have requested absentee ballots this year is 20,000 more than 4 years ago. That's 20,000 people who want to make sure they're heard because they're maybe not available on election day. That should tell you something about the blue wave in Maryland. These polls you're seeing over and over and over again are not correct. They are not right. The polls are doing the same thing that they do year after year. They're asking the same people. We have seen this year, we saw in 2017 in statewide elections in Virginia and elsewhere, the polls aren't asking the right people. The people that are showing up to vote are new voters, they're energized voters, they're young voters. That's what's going to make the difference with Ben Jealous. So every time you have someone, a naysayer out there talking to you about Ben Jealous and talking to you about this election, make sure you tell them the polls are wrong. And on November the 7th, you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that the biggest upset in Maryland history is that Ben Jealous will be our next governor. And it's not voters showing up that are going to vote straight ticket down the ballot because they're fed up with what's happening with the Republican Party, because they will be voting for Ben Jealous. The last thing I want to say is that Ben's going to be here tonight. He has been busy crisscrossing the state of Maryland. He's been working up in Baltimore County, in Baltimore City. He's been in Prince George, he's in Montgomery. He's all over the state of Maryland. He's working every single day. He has events. So he's a busy guy. We're going to try to get him back in Anne Arundel County again soon, but we're so glad that he's here with us tonight. I wanted to real quick recognize Tori Jacobson, also snuck in. He's running for Judge of the Orphan Court. And James is getting all the shout outs. James 3 times now. And now I'm going to pass it over to the president of the West County Democratic Club, Otis Duffy. He's going to say a few words, and then we'll get to Ben.
Greetings, everyone, and on behalf of West County Democratic Club, I want to welcome you to West County, the Golden Coast of Anne Arundel County and Maryland as a whole. So, if you've never been here before, please come again, and let me tell you this, we have the best club, West County Democratic Club, in Maryland. But I want you to know that I will brag about West County. Indeed, we are very popular, we are very demanding, and we support our county. Very much so. Our fundraisers that we have are dedicated to candidates that's running it. And we contribute back to our candidates. That's the purpose of our fundraising. We make money and we give money to our candidates. That's what we do in our club. And it's very important that we do that because we want our candidates to be able to go out and purchase whatever they need in order to advertise and be commercial with their campaign. And this is what we do, this is what we strive to do, and this is what we have a membership that we have in West County. We have a very large membership, and we are always asking individuals to come out and join West County Democratic Club. We have several functions during the year. We have our President Mitchell that we observe in April. We have our annual pig picking fish fry in September. And we have our Christmas party in December. So again, we do have activities that we do in order to raise funds for our candidates. So again, I want to say welcome to each and every one of you. And we do have application if you want to join West County Democratic Club. But what I want to say most important of all is that get out and vote. Take a neighbor, take a friend, volunteer to work at the polls. And by all means, do get out and vote and recruit other individuals in your community and your club to go out and vote with them. You know, I have some members of my club here with me, and a couple of members I want to recognize because when you correspond with me, 9 times out of 10 you're going to go through this young lady in order to reach me. I do have my own email and everything, but she is my corresponding secretary, and if it doesn't go to her, it doesn't get done. And she'll tell me that in a minute. It comes to me, so you're responsible for answering it. And when I answer something, I send it directly to her. And she stood up over here, Miss Joan Cranfield. Yeah. She also keep me on time. I won't have a clock here and say 2 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes. When I get a mic, I just go crazy. I love talking. But in this point in time, you know, we are here to listen to our next governor that will be speaking. So Mr. Charles, if you would. Is he here? Patrick.
All right, so I don't know. I'm not really sure. All right, so he's still a few minutes away, but again, we need to keep the energy up. Every single day, 7 days a week, we have people out door knocking in Anne Arundel County, or all across Maryland, but in Anne Arundel County. So if you want to get involved with that, the coordinated campaign has an office in Hanover by BWI Airport. I can get you the information. Oh. Okay, well, I'm going to let Pete Smith, our county councilman, speak.
I'm going to put this down because it's not working, but I think I can use my big boy voice. So we want to thank you all for coming here today, because look, today is what, Tuesday? Tuesday. And many of you, there are some TV shows on that I have friends who watch TV shows quite often. I don't get to watch a lot of TV, but I'm excited about being a Democrat. And this is what's so important about this election this season, that I think everyone in here should try to understand and absorb. And I've served in this capacity on the county council for 5.5 years, 6 years come this December. And it has been literally the greatest opportunity of my life to be in that capacity. The last 20 years I've been in the Marines, and it's all about service. What I like about being a Democrat, is that we have compassion for those who are not like us. We don't judge other people who don't look like us. That's right. And that's the biggest thing that I love about being a Democrat. So this upcoming November, when you go to the polls, there are going to be some folks who are unsure about Ben. But let me give you some numbers right here that I think are very important. In 2016, the previous presidential candidate on the Republican side, had 40,000 votes, right? 940,000 votes. His predecessor in 2012, had about 910,000 votes. The reason I'm telling you this is because the Republicans are going to come out. They're going to come out. And the same people who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 are the same people telling you that our candidate nominee, Ben Jealous, is not the right guy to lead our country. I don't know what planet they're living on, but I know this man. I know this man. What's good about our gubernatorial candidate is he's going to bring good people to his team. He's going to bring people who don't care what community you come from, who don't care what color you come from, who don't care about what background you come from. He's going to bring smart people who are going to make sure that this state is doing the right thing to make sure that opportunity is there for everybody, not just those who have a back door. Come November, it is not only important for you to go vote, it's important for you to take your neighbor or your spouse or your sibling or your brother or your sister to go vote, because Ben Jealous will be the next governor of Maryland. And that is
Well, good evening. It is nice to be at home in Anne Arundel County. I want us to think for a second. I want to take you back a couple of years ago. November 2016, not the day Trump won, the day after, when you woke up and you realized, oh my God, he's still president. That wasn't a bad dream. It actually happened. What WTF do we do now? You know, I have family members in recovery, and they always talk about the importance of the Serenity Prayer. I didn't understand it until Trump won. I started saying the Serenity Prayer like 4 or 5 times a day. One day, so it hit me all at once. Key thought, the core concept of the Serenity Prayer is know what you can change. You wake up one day and you realize the far right wing, those who would divide neighbor against neighbor in the interests of wealthy corporations and the Koch brothers and others who like to invest in pitting us against each other, and running the types of hateful ads that we've seen directed at me in this campaign. You wake up and you realize the far right wing has taken over every branch of our federal government. The core thought in the Serenity Prayer is know what you can control, know what you can change. It occurs to you, one thing we can change is who runs Maryland. said, and let's hear it for Pete Smith, one of the great leaders of our country. Great vet, great member of the intelligence community, a true hero. Thank you, Pete. Pete said we're going to do that by winning the way Democrats win. You put out a positive vision, and you turn out more than 1 million of your neighbors, and you win. Yeah. That's how we'll win in 2010, and that's how we'll win this year. Well, the next thought that hit me that day was that the most important lesson I learned in college was in judo class. First lesson of judo: you shall use your opponent's momentum against them. That's how a 5'2" black belt kicked my butt every day as a white belt. I had a lot of momentum, and I was always on my back, flying across the room. Well, what's the momentum of the far right wing? My grandma's a 101-year-old retired Maryland social worker. Her grandfather was born a slave, died a state senator, co-founded Virginia State University. My grandma helped train a much younger social worker named Barbara McCullough. And my grandma would tell you that the momentum of the far right wing, the way we got to this place where they control 33 state governorships and every branch of the federal government, has been the states' rights movement. We signaled that we were ready to enforce civil rights and women's rights and workers' rights and protect our environment. And they responded by saying, then we will take the power away from the federal government and we'll invest it in the states so we can do end runs around all those things. But when you wake up and Donald Trump and the Republicans control every branch of your federal government, what do? You take back your state and you make a state, you make a sort of model. This campaign is about making Maryland a model for fully funding our schools, eliminating zip codes as determinants of children's opportunity, giving our teachers a raise, and finding out what happens when every school is finally a good school. This campaign is about being a model for taking on the pharmaceutical companies. We don't take their money like Hogan does. In fact, we don't take any corporation's money, no corporate PAC money, no even big business money. And we will make Maryland a model for taking them on, getting a better deal for our neighbors, passing Medicare for all. Times when the scientists tell us we have 10 years to save the ability of the planet to sustain human life. Let's be clear, we're not saving the planet. The planet will not miss us. We're saving us. We have 10 years to save us, to get climate change under control. We will make Maryland a model for moving as rapidly as possible to 100% reliance on clean and renewable energy. And in the process, we will unlock thousands of new jobs and new wealth as we become a center of green energy technology. Back to Dundalk. We can build turbines in Dundalk, float them straight down to Chesapeake Bay, install them off the eastern shore, and create thousands of jobs in both places. Sisters and brothers, this is an inflection point in history. Either we rise to this moment, we organize our neighbors, we push them towards a positive vision of what's possible, or we allow the Republicans to keep pushing us backwards. And my grandma raised me to believe in the promise of this state. It's why, after my parents had to leave because mom's black and dad's white, and it was against the law for them to stay here once they got married. illegal to get married in Maryland in 1966, illegal to return to the state as husband and wife. The sheriff could come into your bedroom at midnight and prove that you were violating the law by cohabitating as man and wife across racial lines. It's why, despite all of that, they kept sending me back. Every summer with my grandparents, rushed back here in my 20s, so I had to raise my children here in my 30s as I led the NAACP. And the promise of Maryland has always been that this place, that my parents, this place that my grandparents came to in 1941, Granddad had to work the B&O Railroad. Grandma went to work for Planned Parenthood. Yeah, my grandma's, upset we're still dealing with some stuff. Top of her list is that access to women for birth control is still a fight. I thought we handled that a long time ago. Grandma's a piece of work. Well, she trained me to say the promise of Maryland is that this place would always be a place where it's easier for your children to achieve the American dream and for you to have confidence that your golden years would not become a nightmare. And what's the status of the American dream in Maryland and Maryland's promise to her people under Larry Hogan? In the last 4 years, everything that's supposed to have gone up went down, and everything that's supposed to go down went up. Our schools have fallen every year in the national rankings, fallen from 1st to 6th on his watch. Does he have a plan to turn that around? No. I gave him 5 minutes on the debate. He couldn't tell us his plan. Murders are up 42% statewide outside of Baltimore City, and more than 50% when you factor in Baltimore City. Healthcare costs are up 120% in the Maryland Health Exchange, the benchmark premium. Opioid deaths are up 160%. We're dead last in the region in job growth. We're dead last in income growth. If we had the job growth of Virginia, we would have 40,000 more jobs right now, and their job growth is below the national average. Folks will tell you, Hogan's not that bad. And then you tell them those stats, and you know what they say? Wow, that's actually pretty bad. We know. We are Democrats. We are the party of FDR and JFK and RFK and Barbara Jordan and Barbara Mikulski. We are Maryland Democrats. We are the party that Barbara Mikulski built.
Say that.
We don't accept Republicans pushing us backwards. We know that this is a state that was built for working families to leap forward. So let's get out there. These next 3 weeks and turn this race around. We saw O'Malley do it to Ehrlich. We saw Hogan do it to Brown. The polls have been off. They were off in 2014. They were off in 2016. They were off in my primary. I lost every poll in the primary, and then I won the race by 10 points. So forget whatever you've heard to this point. We'll draw a line at this point, and what do? We get every neighbor we can to join us in volunteering. We knock on every door. We make every call. We turn out more than 1 million Democrats, and as Pete told you, trust me, they will not be able to catch up with us. Money doesn't decide who wins. Polls don't decide who wins. We decide who wins. Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1 in Maryland. Let's go turn out our neighbors. Folks got any questions? What's the next? You tell me. Yes, ma'am.
One reason we gotta have you as governor is because of redistricting.
Yes.
And if Hogan is telling people I'm gonna make half the districts in Maryland Republican. This is what I want to tell people to say, you know, Hogan wasn't so bad. I think I'm going to vote for him. I've heard all those bad jealous things. We need
Well, no, thank you. Look, that's exactly right. The next governor will handle redistricting. The next governor will also appoint 5 out of 7 judges to the Maryland Court of Appeals. Now think about that. That's our state's highest court, the state's Supreme Court, if you will. 5 out of 7 judges. Larry Hogan may be the only person in America of 300 million plus people who said he was neither educated enough nor qualified to have an opinion about Brett Kavanaugh. When I was 18 years old, I thought I was educated and qualified enough to have an opinion about Clarence Thomas. How can you be a 50-something-year-old governor and think you ain't educated enough to have an opinion about Brett Kavanaugh? My cab driver has an opinion about Brett Kavanaugh. And what we know is that's really about his cowardice. That he doesn't want us to know what he really thinks. And whenever he's had a first instinct, it's always been wrong. Confederate monuments, he said, keep them up. Fracking, let's go with that. We have to, on judicial appointments, have a governor who can get it right the first time. And on redistricting, we have to have a governor who has the courage to say, the only way we move to nonpartisan redistricting is we do it together. We pass a federal nonpartisan redistricting law. We create a state compact. But we will not unilaterally disarm Maryland. We have to leverage the power of our state to get the region to reform. Otherwise, all we do is send a whole bunch of new Republicans to Congress at exactly the wrong time. And as I said today to the Associated Press, the time has come for us to impeach Donald Trump.
Big question.
Yeah.
What's your vision for infrastructure development throughout Maryland, covering from the district all the way out to the shore within Anne Arundel County and beyond, all jurisdictions? Where are you with that?
We have to, you're talking about transportation?
Transportation particularly.
We have to have a 21st century plan for transportation in Maryland. In this region, the greater Baltimore region, it's always been an afterthought on top of an afterthought. I was with the Anne Arundel Chamber leaders a few nights ago. A few of them were at a business people's event I had. They're upset about Larry Hogan killing the red line. There's plenty of folks in our county could have driven right into the beginning of the red line and zipped into jobs downtown. I'm committed to reviving the red line. It may take 10 years. They told me, Mr. Jendlis, there's no way to do that unless we change the President of the United States. I said, you know what, I'm totally down for that one too. Sometimes a big public works project takes a decade, sometimes it takes 2, but you don't stop fighting. In the meantime, we have to have a plan for the entire state and the region. That includes bus rapid transit, that includes bus systems that make sense, that includes expanding MARC, expanding Metro, increasing the service. What we don't need is more rapid transit for the rich. We don't need $43 tolls. We don't need, don't get me wrong, I'm a sci-fi geek. I like the idea of high-speed rail. But if the choice is between high-speed rail, which with one stop in Maryland, Baltimore, and everything else is out of state, and it's $56 round trip to DC and back? Like, please, if you can afford $56 a day, buy a helicopter. What the rest of us need is MARC to be expanded and for it to run more frequently, and that's the type of thing I'll focus on.
Yeah. Question. I'm worried about the healthcare message that Republicans are attacking too much when they start out. I think a lot of voters are worried about that. Or how are you going to make your message clear to
Sure.
moderate voters, people who may not be worried about that, like all in?
Right. So what we know actually is that our message outpolls theirs when voters hear it. The most important thing we can do right now is to make sure that voters hear our message. Literally, what we're fighting against is a name recognition deficit. He's an incumbent governor that everybody knows. 10 out of 10 voters know him. I'm an insurgent Democrat. We had some of the highest name recognition of all the other would-be challengers. But you started about, in my case, about 7 out of 10 voters knowing who I am. The day that we get to 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 voters know Ben Jealous is a Democrat who supports Medicare for all and is endorsed by the nurses to fix the healthcare system. I jump in front by 6 points. So we're not shying away from Medicare. And they ask you what Medicare for all about. Tell them this. Tell them it's about stretching our health dollars further. It's about leveraging our buying power so we get a better deal. As Americans, as Marylanders, we pay twice as much as what they pay in pretty much any other industrialized nation for health care, and we get half as much. The Republicans, and specifically the pharmaceutical lobby that's funding those ads, will tell you, no, we can't. No, we can't do what every other Western nation has done. I don't recognize no, we can't America, or no, we can't Maryland. We're a can-do state and a can-do country. And when you point that out, it's about leveraging our buying power, and the message you're hearing is from the pharmaceutical lobby. Understand, the pharmaceutical lobby may be the only entity less popular than Donald Trump. As we expand, Mark, one of the ways that we're going to do it, or to do it, is to build more transit-oriented development. So in close proximity to trains and to bus rapid transit, we'll be building more vertically, because we can't just keep building single-family houses for everybody and tearing down forests. Park is not everybody can afford it. And we have to build more rental housing as well. The rental market in Maryland is so expensive because it comes at a premium. Maryland is now the most expensive state in the country to rent a one-bedroom apartment on a full-time minimum wage salary. It will take precisely 101% of your full-time minimum wage salary to rent a one-bedroom apartment in Maryland. That's also why when the governor will finally raise the state minimum wage to $15 an hour. Yes, sir. I'll take these two. Yes. Happy to talk about that. And what's your question?
Well, there are a lot of young people and a lot of women who are coming out to support you.
Yes.
What can we do, young people, like myself, what can we do to help you get Ben Jealous elected in 2018?
All right, perfect one to close on. So let me handle that, and I'll go. So she said, as you heard me say, this is about fully funding education. It's about getting our healthcare costs under control, getting a better bang for our buck, and it's about building an inclusive, robust economy powered by clean energy. So we break that down. Robust means that we will build on Maryland's strengths. Our strengths are cybersecurity. We're the cybersecurity center of the universe. And yet, Virginia keeps beating us and getting cybersecurity headquarters to escape. I asked Terry McAuliffe, who's endorsed my campaign, why do you always beat Larry Hogan? He says, because Larry Hogan never has a plan, and plan beats no plan all day long. I got Alphabet, the holding company for Google, and Google to tour the state. It's a place for possible expansion last spring, because for 2 years I've worked with them on getting them here. Part of how I got them here was they are interested in building a cybersecurity center of excellence. Our strengths are health sciences. We used to be number 3 in the country. We're now number 5 or 6. We'll get back to the top 3. I'm a mentor at Johns Hopkins Accelerator Fast Forward, where I help grow health sciences startups. And we will grow more. Part of that is taking the office of tech transfer out of the Department of Commerce and putting it in the governor's office to give it greater visibility and power. We are number 1 in the country destination, the number 1 destination for federally funded research dollars, and yet we lag in the in the bringing of those ideas to market as products and the growth of our economy. As you know, federally funded research is what was the seed corn in Silicon Valley, and we will do a much better job of bringing it to market. One of the companies I invested in is just that type of company, and it's growing around. Our strength is also just simply our entrepreneurs who are here. They are our #1 job creator, small business people who are here. And as governor, I will do several things to make sure, one, they get better access to capital. We will organize the investors who are in the state and investors who are out of state to give our entrepreneurs greater access to them and demystify who they are and where they are. It's a big part of what we've done at Hopkins to retain more Hopkins startups in Maryland, and we'll do that for the state. We will also underwrite our banks, giving lines of credit earlier, like at 6 months or a year, not having to wait for 2 years of tax returns, and to use the latest financial services technologies to do that, because it's not just, as you know, when you're growing a business, whether you get the credit you need, but whether you get it when you need it. If you get it when you need it, you grow more rapidly. We will also benchmark our regulations against those of surrounding states and our incentives to make sure that this is the best place to grow a small business. And we'll create a growing business owner's Bill of Rights, so that as part of an effort, Susie and I are both small business people, to bring an actual customer service ethic and ethos to our government. Because there's too many times people are just given the runaround in ways that may be, I don't know, convenient for the person giving them the runaround, but literally drain them of dollars while they're trying to launch an enterprise and short-circuit their ability to create jobs. So those are 4 of the things that we're focused on. Thank you guys for talking with us. Is that we will invest more money in TEDCO to make more of the state's money available to Maryland startups. Now, how do you help? 3 ways. We need every dollar we can possibly get for advertising. We got to get my name recognition up to that of the governor. This is a people-funded campaign. Average donation last quarter, Friends of Ben Jealous, $42. If you haven't given, please do. If you're already given, thank you. If it just occurred to you, you could give more, thank you for that too. 2, volunteer as much as you can and encourage others to come with you. 3, do everything you can on social media. And if you're more of a phone call person, just burn up the phone lines. Telling folks there's a Democrat in this race. He's endorsed by the teachers, he's endorsed by the nurses, and he needs your vote. Yes. We turn out every Democrat we win. Again, last time we won, we turned out more than 1 million voters. Last time they won, they turned out less than 900,000. How does a party that can turn out 1 million voters lose to one that can't even turn out 900,000? We don't show up. I'm thinking this year is a year when Democrats win. I'm sorry, we're in the last 3 weeks, I'm sprinting around the state. This is a year for us. Our first chance to send a message to Donald Trump. And what better way to send a message to Donald Trump than to send a civil rights leader to be your next governor?
No blinking. 1, 2. 3, 4.
Wait, one more's coming.
Hey, Jill, get up here.
Woo! 1, 2, 3. One more. I'm trying to go. Did you get all?
I got you.
All right, okay. Yes, thank you. I wish I could.
Now maybe I can eat.